Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. You may not be aware, but potentially one of the fights of the year is going to take place this Friday coming up, and it's actually in the women's game, and it's for the undisputed minimum weight title. All four belts on the line. We're talking 105 pounds. It's between SENIESA Estrada, American, I think she's American Mexican origins, against Puerto Rico's Yokasta Valle. Valle holds the WBO and the IBF belt. And SENIESA Estrada holds the WBC and WBA belt. So they're coming together. And as usual, with the women's game, you've got a far more shallow talent pool. So if you want to build a legacy or make any money and you're good, you've got to fight each other. And that's what these two girls are doing. And trust me when I tell you, even though it's over those damn 10-minute rounds, which I hate. I wish it was 12 threes, especially this fight. There's going to be a lot of action because it's a sprint. Now, there are very few fighters in the world who are who throw more punches than SENIESA Estrada. She's currently undefeated, 25 wins with 9 KOs, no draws, no defeats. And even though she didn't look that great in her last fight against Leonela Udica, a lot of people thought Udica probably did better than the scorecard suggested. SENIESA won a unanimous decision. I thought she won that fight. But there's no doubt Udica was pretty decent. Prior to that, SENIESA unanimously decision Tina Ruprecht, who was undefeated at the time. And I'll come to Ruprecht in a moment. But if you go through her career, SENIESA Estrada, she turned pro in 2011. She's 31 years old now. So that's a long time ago. She's had a long career, and she built up her record fighting, the usual suspects. Well, maybe they're not that usual because people don't recognise them. But, journeywomen. When I say the usual suspects, what I mean is journeywomen, people who are debutantes maybe, people who have a few fights and then disappear, completely unknown girls. And then gradually, after she'd learnt the trade, she moved into fighting people like Marlon Esparza, who's very good, who was undefeated at the time. SENIESA won a technical decision over 9 rounds. There was a bad cut. I think Esparza was the one who was cut. That was in 2019, and that was a real turning point. She then got this incredible highlight reel knockout against the completely hapless Miranda Adkins, who was 5-0 coming in undefeated and got knocked out in 7 seconds. If you've ever seen this, it's on YouTube. SENIESA Estrada walked across the ring, fired a combination and knocked Adkins flat. I mean out, completely out. And it took her all of 7 seconds. The ref just waved off. That's your lot, normal. So that added to her mystique, if you like. She calls herself Superbad, SENIESA Estrada. She's only 5'2", so she's a little powder keg, a little fireball. And then she had, other good wins. She beat Annabelle Ortiz, who at the time was 31 wins with 3 defeats. That was a unanimous decision. She fought a Japanese girl. I can't remember the girl. I think it was a Japanese girl. She fought her, it was in the States though. No, it's not going to come to me. I've seen the fight, but I can't remember the girl's name. But let's get back to let's move over to Yokasta Valle because Yokasta is not undefeated, but she has fought a lot. She got 30 wins with 9 KOs, same amount of KOs as Estrada, but she's had more fights. She got 2 defeats and no draws, and the 2 defeats were back to back. One was in 2017, the other was in 2018, and one of those was to Tina Ruprecht, who fought SENIESA Estrada very recently, only a couple of fights ago, was outpointed unanimously, but Tina outpointed. She was undefeated at the time with 7 wins, no draws, no defeats, and she outpointed Yokasta Valle over 10 in what was a competitive fight. But nevertheless, I think Tina did win it. Now, I said that Yokasta Valle lost back-to-back fights. The other one was to a Japanese girl called Naoka Fujioka, I think her name is. And that was a unanimous decision as well. But if you look at Yokasta's record, she turned pro 9.5 years ago, fought, again, the usual suspects, the journeywomen, the people who really haven't got, we just almost treating boxing like a hobby. debutantes and so on. But those two defeats, back-to-back defeats, certainly gave Yokasta an education, and some lessons are learnt the hard way, because since then, since 2018, mid-2018, she's undefeated. And she upped the ante. She started fighting some very, very good opponents like Joanna Pastrana, who had 16 fights. She had 15-1 she was. Yokasta won a split decision over her, and that was for the IBF Minimumweight title. She then went on, defended it. I think, I'm trying to think of who she defended it against. There was an undefeated girl with a weird name, 5-0. I can't remember her name, but she got this weird name, Ngoyan or something, but her forename is really strange. I can't remember the name of this girl, but she was undefeated, and Yokasta beat her, and she also beat Evelyn Bermudez. That was a majority decision over 10. And who else has she beaten? Let me think now. I know the last fight was against Annabelle Ortiz, and she won a unanimous decision, deservedly so. She won most of the rounds. I think Ortiz might have won 1 or 2 rounds. That was it. But I would say that Yokasta Valle she fires less punches than Estrada, but then who doesn't? Nevertheless, being a minimum weight fighter, she's still quite busy. She's slightly taller at 5'4". She's an orthodox fighter. This is Valle, by the way. So is Estrada. They're both orthodox, but Estrada's a couple of inches shorter. But Yokasta Valle, I think, has a little bit more technique. There's a bit more thought goes into what she does. There's quite an interesting backstory as well regarding the promoters, because Estrada's with Top Rank, and prior to that, I think Valle was with Top Rank. Valle moved over to Golden Boy. And I think, was Estrada with Golden Boy and she moved to Top Rank? I think that's how it worked. I think Estrada was with Golden Boy. She kind of had a little bit of a minor falling out. She wasn't getting the opportunity, so she went over to Top Rank. We were promoting this fight, and then Top Rank picked up Valle. I think that's how it works. So there's a bit of promotional rivalry going on there as well, a bit of history. And yeah, I mean, both girls 31 years of age, so they're pretty much in their prime. But I think the way this fight will go, and of course it's a sprint over 10-2s, but I think SENIESA will again get her engine running early, start throwing lots of punches. She'll be very, very aggressive, as she always is. Defensively, there's some flaws to her. Being small, she sometimes likes to make herself even smaller. But I don't think that will bother Valle. Valle, actually, just as a little aside, once held the WBC atomweight title, which a lot of people don't know. I'm not convinced I knew it existed until I read about it a while ago. But it's for women who are 105 pounds or under 105 pounds. So you were getting into, like midget boxing. I know plenty of women who'd like to be thin, but not that thin, not that small, But I think that, so the point was that with Valle, she's used to fighting smaller girls, So I don't think it's going to bother her too much that SENIESA will, do that Mike Tyson thing where she's moving forward and firing punches from being quite a sort of compact, low stance. I think Valle won't be afraid to exchange, but she'll want to really box on the back foot a bit more. There is a bit more thought goes into her work in general with Valle. With SENIESA, especially in her last fight, it did. She was throwing a lot of punches, but they didn't have any kind of rhyme or reason, a lot of them. Whereas Valle tends to throw her punches a bit better. There's a bit more ring IQ going on there. So I see this fight early on. I see maybe for the first 4 rounds, I see SENIESA Estrada pulling away. But in the middle rounds, I think Valle will start to find her rhythm, control the range a little bit better, and sort of box fight. Do you know what I mean? Like fight when she has to, but control the range and stay on the back foot a little bit more. I think because it's only 10-2s, 20 minutes of fighting, which isn't that much certainly not for world-class fighters like this, I think SENIESA will I think she'll use up a lot of energy early, but I don't see a problem with her going the full 10. She's been 10 many times before. Same with Valle. I don't see either girl getting knocked out. I'll be surprised if either girl gets knocked down. Yeah, but it's not knocked down. Well, I suppose I can see that when I think about the styles, but I don't see this being a stoppage. I see this as being a distance fight. Like I say, early rounds, SENIESA Estrada probably wins them. Middle rounds, Valle starts to find a rhythm, a range, and so on, which brings us to, say, the last 3 rounds. I can see Valle containing a tiring SENIESA Estrada, who will never stop throwing punches, never stop going forward, never stop trying. But I think Valle will probably win maybe 2 of the last 3 rounds. She'll finish a little bit stronger. The question is, who's going to pinch a decision? I see this being a very close decision, and it could go either way. It's in America. It's in Glendale. Valle is from, is she from Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic? Okay, no, she's not. Did I say earlier she was from Puerto Rico? She's not. She's from Costa Rica. That's right. I remember her waving a flag around before and after one of the fights. Yeah, my mistake. I stand corrected. I'm sure she's from Costa Rica. And for some reason, I want to say that she's originally from Nicaragua as well. So I'm getting very confused here. No, I think she's Costa Rican. I remember reading that she's a big star in Costa Rica, or seeing something on Instagram or something like that. So I apologize. She's not Puerto Rican. Estrada is like Mexican American, but Valle is, even though she's got Nicaraguan roots, I think she's settled in Costa Rica and she's a big star over there. So I stand corrected about that. Yeah, just as well I remember that before I finish the video. He'd be slagging me off in the comments. But yeah, how's this fight going to go? I think, being in America, I can see Estrada pinching a controversial decision. I think Valle will finish stronger. People will forget about the first 3 or 4 rounds where Estrada was coming forward and throwing an awful lot of punches and basically outworking Valle. I think Valle will probably finish stronger, maybe win 2 of the last 3, maybe even the last 3 rounds. But I see a controversial decision, could be a split decision or a majority decision, but I see SENIESA Estrada outpointing Yokasta Valle in a close fight, competitive fight with a controversial ending. That's my prediction. It's going to be a good one, though. I can't see how this isn't going to be a good fight, because both these girls are so evenly matched, so difficult to predict the winner, and they throw so many punches. But I see Yokasta Valle being the superior boxer, but Estrada she's hard to keep off you, even if you are a good boxer. You're not going to be able to box at long range for very long. So yeah, I see Estrada pinching a decision, close one. Anyway, what do you think? Do you like this fight? Are you looking forward to it? Who do you think is going to win? Comments below as usual. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you could do that, that'd be great. And also hit the like button. Yeah, this is a good one. Look out for this. It's Friday, don't forget. All right. So I'll catch you later. Bye for now.